Today's news. Baku hosts Human Rights Conference. Journalists writing on human rights awarded. 2,000 individuals appealed Migration Center. 2011 state budget lacks transparency. Market stall owners denied compensation after fire.
Today, German-based Friedrich Ebert Foundation and Azerbaijan Youth Club held a conference titled Present State of Human Rights in Azerbaijan, Problems and International Standards. Representatives of several embassies, leaders of opposition parties, and representatives of NGOs were in attendance. The conference organizers expressed their disappointment in the absence of OSCE, Council of Europe, and the Azerbaijani government's representatives. Conference participants spoke about how difficult the human rights situation is in Azerbaijan. The participants also spoke about the deteriorating state of freedom of expression, free elections, and freedom of assembly and property rights in Azerbaijan. The worst situation is in the freedom of expression sphere. The people who voice the truth are either arrested or charged with narcotics. Elmar Husseinov's murder, Inula Fatulayev's, and the bloggers' imprisonments strengthen the self-censorship in the media, IRFS chairman Emin Husseinov noted. The forum participants also touched on the parliamentary elections, which were claimed to be the most falsified elections in the past 30 years. Even the pluralism situation in the elections in the 1990s were better in the 2010 elections, and the freedom of assembly was apparent. However, this is not apparent in 2010, Musavat Party representative Arif Hajili noted. The forum attendees also spoke about property right violations. Speakers forecasted an increase in the violation of property rights. They related it to the rise in the oil price. In Azerbaijan, the people's property, houses, and estates are forcefully confiscated. Democracy starts from people's rights for property. Property right depends on the right to free election. There are no property rights in a country that lacks the right to free elections. Center for Assistance Economic Initiatives head Azer Mehdiev said. People's complaints are not investigated. Courts don't provide legal evaluation of complaints. They more frequently abide by orders and instructions. Even the European Court of Human Rights decisions are ignored. Lawyer Rasul Jafar said. Political expert Arastun Olujlu criticized the international organizations, including Council of Europe, OSCE, European Union, and foreign embassies. He noted that the embassies of EU countries in Azerbaijan have done nothing for the protection of human rights in Azerbaijan. Economic expert Natig Jafarlı said that ensuring long-term stability depends on ensuring democracy, human rights, and property rights. Musavat Party head Issa Gamber blamed the Aliyev regime for the violation of human rights. He also blamed Russia for not ensuring democracy and human rights in the region. The authoritarian regime in Russia formed the Authoritarian Union of CIS states and are eliminating all democratic standards in the region, he said. The Musavat leader also called on the Azerbaijani right defenders to protect WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange's rights. What can we understand if Julian Assange faces the same fate as Azadlık editor Ganimat Zahid? The human rights organizations should ensure his defense.
The Protection of Political and Civil Rights Public Union held a press conference on human rights in Azerbaijan today. The conference was held to commemorate the anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, adopted in 1948 by UNO. Public Union chairperson Parviz Hashimli presented awards to journalists Samir Kazimli and Azur Abdullah, the winners of a human rights essay competition. Conference participants emphasized that, despite being theoretically protected in the constitution, the human rights of Azerbaijani citizens are regularly subject to violation. Freedoms of expression, speech, and assembly are regularly curtailed by the government. The opening speech pointed out that there are currently 20 internationally recognized political prisoners in Azerbaijan. Human rights defender Novella Jafaroglu mentioned the importance of imprisoned journalist Zainullah Fatulayev's release, as ruled by the European Court of Human Rights. The father of Fatullayev called upon citizens to work together for the protection of human rights in Azerbaijan.
On the 8th of December, a press conference was held at the Azerbaijan Migration Center. The conference focused on stateless people and those living in Azerbaijan without legal documents. The Public Union President Alovsat Aliyev stated that persons living without documents or with invalid documents are not able to attain some key rights and freedoms. More than 2,000 stateless persons and individuals who have no documents appealed to the Migration Center in 2010. 1,001 of them were given direct legal advice. More than 50 applications were prepared for submitting to cases to courts, stated Alovset Aliyev. He added that they will continue to assist such persons free of charge in the future. Representatives at the conference included the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the State Migration Service, the Ombudsman's Office, and the Ministry of Labor. An event attendee, Hussein Guliev, stated that he could not get citizenship for his children. I am Azerbaijani citizen, and I am living in Russia for some time now. My children were born in Russia, and I am living in Azerbaijan at the moment. But my children cannot get citizenship here. Therefore, I have to appeal to the court, said Guliev. "2011 state budget lacks transparency." Today, the National Budget Group released a report on the review of the 2011 budget of Azerbaijan. According to Gubad Ibadoglu, the Economic Research Center head, the budget is not transparent and does not meet international requirements. The budget is dependent on the state oil fund. The formation of the budget at the expense of the state oil fund's transfers endangers the funds in the next budget, too. Though the expenditures are enumerated in clauses, these clauses are not explained. Because of this, it is possible that there will be corruption, Ibadoglu said. According to Ibadoglu, the oil fund's transfers to the state budget amounted to 100 million manat in 2003, whereas in 2011, the transfers amounted to 6,480,000,000 manat. He suggested that before the adoption and approval of the new budget, a financial policy directive on the state budget's dependence on the oil fund should be prepared, and the share of oil funds in the budget should be controlled to not exceed 30%.
A fire at 8-kilometre Market on October 26th has caused untold hardship to a group of entrepreneurs. The fire consumed the 4,500 square metres of the market. 7 individuals were injured and hundreds of thousands of euros worth of merchandise was destroyed. Market sellers suffered huge losses in the aftermath of the fire but have not received any compensation. At a press conference in the IRFS Press Centre today, the market sellers declared that their rights had been violated. Entrepreneur Adalad Novruzov explained that no one had been called to account for the fire. He claimed that the case had not been investigated and reported that he and other storeholders had been left uncompensated. He said that the Azerbaijan Republic State Property Management Committee had defected on its compensation agreement, and that market ownership had not taken any steps to resolve the situation. Fellow storeholder Amin Babiev reported that he had faced threats from market ownership after applying to the Haydar Aliyev Fund for assistance. He said that he would be appealing to the Ministry of Internal Affairs and law enforcement bodies on the grounds of these threats. The market sellers announced that they would start a hunger strike if the problems were not resolved soon.